let it go. Our topic today is called oh my God, let it go. Everybody say let it go. One, two, three. Let it go. This young lady comes from Southern California. Her and her husband are dear leaders in the business. She is a whirlwind of knowledge, a lot of fun. Do not put her together with Jen Olson, and you will never get a word in. But I tell you what, there's so much fun that she's so much fun. She got into business, her daughter, her family, and I don't have my notes in front of me. I just want to tell you one thing about her. Listen closely and take notes. Without further ado, the one and only incomparable Miss Heather Peery.
Well, thank you, Mr. Al Thomas, for allowing me and asking me to do the month of December. We are so grateful for you, grateful for your leadership, grateful for giving us this call, because you have definitely been a part of all of our journeys, whether you know it or not, by just making this call available to us and all the speakers that you have. I know it's definitely aided in my journey, hearing what I'm hearing, and it's powerful. So thank you so much. Thank you for letting me be on here tonight, this morning. So when thinking about this topic, let it go, thinking of things that, that can close out this year. And I don't want to be cliche, because every time it's December, it's like, let's close out the year and start a new year, blah, blah, blah. But I started thinking, I had a brief talk with Mr. Al Thomas. I'm like, he's mentioned some things that have to happen, for 2023, things that must happen for 2023. And then I started thinking, what are we have this call and it's for business and things like that. But what I love about ACN is they care about you as the total leader. We get so much great training here, world-class training from our leaders in how to do the business and words that work and our system that's been in place for 30 years. We get all that, and that's important, and we do need that. But in my experience, I have found the internal work is what's needed to be done for you to be that total leader. The internal work is what's needed to be done for you to even do those things, that 30-year system, to even say the words that work, because you're dealing with so much stuff internally that you can't even do the basic things that they tell us. This business is so easy. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's hard. And you can't even get on there because you're dealing with so much stuff inside that's holding you back. So I thought, what are some things that need to happen, that need to be gone for you to start 2023? So the first topic, it's not a very popular topic, but before you hear it, don't tune it out and say, I might not need this, because you might further on, but it's going to be the topic of unforgiveness. Now, you might be like, oh, I don't need any of that. Well, we don't live in a perfect world, and we're not with perfect people, so something may happen in the future, and you're going to need to let go of that unforgiveness. So to be able to go into 2023, we need to let go of unforgiveness. You might think, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have anyone, or I'm cool with everybody. But what happens, it's really interesting with unforgiveness. The longer we go on, month after month, year after year, and we think we're good, we think we've forgotten that person, unforgiveness doesn't mean because you don't see them anymore that you've forgiven them. If you don't have to deal with them anymore, they're not in your everyday life, you don't even have to talk to them on the phone, nothing, that doesn't mean you've forgiven them. It's nice because you don't have to deal with them. It's nice because you don't have to talk with them, or they're not in your space, so you don't even need to mess with them. But when you really think about it, I have a little list that I got that kind of lets us know if we're struggling with unforgiveness. So a lot of times unforgiveness starts out small, right? A lot of times it starts out with something little. But like I said, we don't live in a perfect world with perfect people. There's people, the Bible calls sin means missing the mark. All of us miss the mark all the time. We may have done something that somebody has not forgiven us for. We don't mean to, but we just, missed the mark. And so I want to go over this little checklist to kind of check us out to see, because sometimes we might not even know that we're dealing with unforgiveness. We think we're good, and then we're like, oh, it's still there. I know I've definitely experienced that when I thought, oh, I did it. I've been praying. I've been working on it, working on it. And then that person will come up, or maybe it's a phone call or something. And then right on my forehead, the memory comes back, or what they said comes back. And I'm like, oh man, it's still there. So to be that total leader and to be able to lead people, and you're going to have these big teams, well, guess what? Those teams are going to come to us, come to me, come to you for your perspective, for advice, or they're going to really respect you and look up to you and be like, how did you deal with A, B, and C? And as a leader, especially in ACN, you want to be able to answer truthfully and honestly how you got through that. What did you do? So unforgiveness. So be able to have a powerful 2023. Let's look at some unforgiveness. And if you're thinking, I'm good, I forgave everyone, that's great. Then take this as education, because you're going to have somebody on your team that you need to identify, I think they're struggling with some unforgiveness. And if you have that relationship with them, maybe you guys can have a conversation and get through some things that might be pulling them down, right? So here is our first little checklist of identifying things if you might have a problem with unforgiveness. Okay. So number one is, do you have a strong negative emotional response or reactions towards certain people when you think about past events? And if so, why? Now remember, you got to be brave when you go through something like this, because you got to be willing to look at this, willing to dig it up, willing and wanting to be like, you know what, it's time. I got to get through this. I can't have, if it's one person, 5 people, it doesn't matter. One is too many, because it's still holding you back. Okay, if so, why? So number 2, does the stress of remembering hurtful events trigger physical reactions and discomforts? If so, why? Now, I think this is what really trips me out, is when we've all heard about how stress will have effect physically on the body. That trips me out, because when we think emotions, we think we can't see them, they're inside us. But then as something grows, like the stress, it gets so much that it can really actually physically cause sickness or cause pain. That trips me out. It's like, how much longer are we going to walk around, or some of us walk around with stuff and it's actually making us sick? Isn't that wild? That is wild. Hopefully we can stop before we get there. Okay, so do you imagine, number 3, do you imagine yourself getting even with those who wronged you? Yeah, probably. Then maybe we're stuck if that happens. Number 4, do you rehearse, I used to do this, or do you rehearse speeches in your mind directed at those you're angry with? Why? What is it? What was the incident? I used to do that with my husband's ex-wife. She never really did anything, but there were things that I didn't like, how she acted, what she did, and how she was with, our kids, that I would definitely rehearse things that, she just needs to say one thing to me, just one thing. And I would just be daydreaming and imagining what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. But God had to deal with me on that. Number 5, do you lie awake at night with memories of injury? Or with memories of injury? Do you lie awake at night just rehearsing that thing that they said or did to you over and over and over again? And then number 6, do you happen to give certain people the silent treatment? So this is such a tough topic, and we can go so many ways, and we only have, 10 more minutes left. So it could be a much longer conversation, but this is just to bring up things that maybe there's stuff that you have buried, that, like I said before, maybe you don't see them anymore, have to deal with them anymore, and you think that you're good. But like I said, to be that total leader, to actually have a true, genuine freedom in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, that unforgiveness, we got to let it go. And like I said, This could be a much longer conversation. Believe me, I have plenty of things. If I told you some of the things that my family has done to me physically, done to me mentally, I get it when it's like, but you don't know what they did and they don't deserve it, and A, B, and C. Totally, totally get it. But the main thing we need to remember is who's forgiveness for. You might have heard this, and hopefully this doesn't just stay in your head, right? Like knowledge, and it comes down here. Forgiveness is for you, for you. These people are not getting away with anything because you forgive them. They are not. They're not getting away with it. Think about this. They don't even know the level of frustration, the level of anger that you have towards them. They have no idea. And maybe they don't even care. But think about, you are going each and every day, rehearsing things over and over in this certain area. It's like this sore, this scab, this thorn that's always at you, and you just sit with it. You're not planning on talking to them. You're not planning on, having a conversation that, you're saying, I forgive you. And maybe they say sorry, maybe they not. There's nothing productive about it. It just sits there and it festers and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So to be able to go into 2023 strong and just full of freedom and strength and this genuine heart of like, I'm healthy, we got to let go of that unforgiveness. So if you've never looked at it before, or maybe you've been pushing it away and not wanting to deal with it, it could start with you right now, starting to deal with it. It could start as with you just writing things down in a journal. This person, I didn't like the way, and when they said or did this, it made me think this. It made me feel this. It made me think this way. It made me, as I grew older, I started to think like this, and I was afraid of this because of that person. So what's really great is we can start to identify, whoa, you might find in that little segment, that's where that started. It's because of this, because now I'm this age, and every time I attempted to do A, B, and C, wow, it was from that. And then you can see the time frame of like, okay, this has got to go. This has got to go. Because sometimes, unfortunately, they don't get fixed right away, right? Someone doesn't apologize to you. And hopefully, if you're waiting for an apology before you forgive, don't. You got to forgive for you. Okay, like I said, this is a much deeper conversation. Like I said, this is just for you to just look at, like, going into 2023, how much longer am I going to keep going on this way and letting this thing be behind me, dragging it with me into every year? Or when you have a conversation, you want to, oh yeah, this, that, and the other thing, and there is an awesome verse that I just can't get away from when I was dealing with some major things with my family, like major. And we can get really dark inside, and really, like, when we have unforgiveness. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you, like, our mind can go a lot of places, and we cannot care really fast, like really fast. And I'm almost embarrassed to say, but I'm gonna tell you guys just to give you a little bit of a realness, so you're not feeling like, oh, I'm so bad. But there was a time when there was stuff so bad with my immediate family, with my parents, and I was a little bit like older already, that they had just done so much that I was driving the car. I still remember I was driving the car, and I knew it was a problem. I knew it wasn't okay to have this much anger, this much strong emotion of just like, I didn't know what to do with it, because it was so wrong, and it was so hurtful, and it was so all the things you can think of. It was just bad. And I'm just driving, and the ball that I have here that I'm so upset about, I know it's not okay to have that, but I don't know where to take it. And I just thought, you know what? I could care less where they go, where they are. If they get hurt, I could care less. Here's the embarrassing part. If they die, I could care less. That's how I felt. I was being honest with the Lord. I said, I could care less, because that's the level I was at. And I said, but Lord, you need to help me. You need to make me forgive, because I don't want to. I'm just being honest. So it's okay if you're like, I don't want to. They don't deserve it. Lord, make me do it. And on the other end, I don't know what they're working on. Probably wasn't working on anything. But I knew for me to go to another level, this had to happen because this was too big and it was coming up all the time. And every time I had a conversation, this would come up in some type of way. This was some type of weight. And if I told you the whole story, you'd be like, ooh, you had every right to. So you don't want those friends that say you have every right to feel that way. Yeah, we do. But we can't keep holding on to be that powerful leader that is really free, genuinely. So when you talk to people, you really can be that genuine you. It's really hard to be you, that genuine, authentic you, when you got all this weight. So to do this business, it requires you to do the internal work too. Go to every training, plug into training. I'm a big believer in training. I'm a product of training, but also too, don't forget about that internal work that's going to really make you stand out as a leader. And then you'll be able to help that team that you're going to have. So be intentional with yourself with this too. We always say, be intentional about your business, be intentional about, taking action. Yes. Okay. Now on this side, it's hard to be a leader, right? Because we got to be intentional about our business. We got to be intentional about our calendar. We got to be intentional about just so many things, but don't forget about you here. Be intentional about forgiveness. How about that? Be intentional about setting time aside to look at some things that you haven't looked at. Be intentional about just going there. Be brave. Go there. Identify it. Don't carry it into another year. Let it go. Let them go so that you can be that leader, right? And it's not for them. They're not getting away with anything. It's for you. So the thing that would always get me, so I was on that drive was, Lord, tell me, forgive as I have forgiven you. And I was like, oh, can't get away from that one. And I was just like, okay. So let's say you don't even believe in God and you don't believe the Bible and all that stuff. Let's say let's say you did something horrible to a friend and they forgave you. And they're like giving you advice. Hey, forgive as I have forgiven you. And you're like, oh man, you did forgive me for that thing. That was messed up what I did. You did forgive me. And you're still my friend. We still hang out. You still call me. You still ask how I'm doing. We still hang out and do things. And now you're caught. You're like, yeah, how can I not? You forgave me. I can't, I'm telling you about the situation and I'm not forgiving this person. You're right, man. I gotta forgive. If you want that forgiveness, when you do something, you gotta extend it. And I know it's hard work. Yes. And then Rick here says that's a whole other thing, is another side to forgiveness. Thanks for reminding me, Rick, is maybe this isn't for somebody else that does something to you, but forgiving yourself. How about going into 2023, forgiving yourself? I don't know what's happened. I don't know what you're carrying, what guilt you have, what you just can't get over. And you're just like, dang, it was me. Like, I should have this. I could have that. I should have done more of this. Hey, I have that too. But thank God I have someone to bring that to help me for that. I have the Lord to bring that to. And, I should have done this better. Maybe if I would have done A, B, and C, then they wouldn't have fill in the blank, right? It could be a person, could be your child, it could be any of that. How about 2023? Let go. Let yourself go. Forgive yourself. Lay it down. Lay it down. No need to beat yourself up anymore. That is not going to empower you to be the leader you need to be in 2023. It's not going to empower you to be a better friend, a better daughter, a better wife, a better husband. None of it. Lay it down. We live in such a negative world, a dark world. I hope that this conversation brings some life and brings some light, that there is hope, that as you work through this, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can forgive yourself. You can forgive those people. This stuff will work out, but you got to do the work. You got to be brave and you got to start. You got to look at it. You can't keep it in the corner anymore. You can't subconsciously have it anymore. Let's go into 2023. letting go of unforgiveness. Do what you need to do, get in your quiet corner, whatever you have to do, make the time to go through this. Check yourself. I'm going to check myself too. As I was thinking of this, I actually thought of somebody. I'm like, and it's not super, super serious, but there was a little bit of something. And I'm like, okay, got it. I'm going to work on that. I got to get that out of here. I'm going to work on that. So with that, I am done. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Man, there was so much juice in this. And it all started with let it go. And then the subtitle was of unforgiveness. Mr. B. Clemens said, amazing, Heather. Wow, that is so true. How many of us are carrying excess baggage about stuff? And that reminded me of something I carried for 3 years. I had to let it go because the person went on with their life, but I was holding on to it. Let's not go into 2023 with 2022 and beyond stuff. Let's drop it. Let's drop it at the altar. Let's drop it in prayer. Let's drop it in God's feet. Let's drop it and move on. And as a hot air balloon goes, we can't go higher until we cut the biblical cords of the sandbags. That's been slowing us down, folks. This is your year to let it go. You know, the song was what? Exodus. Leaving and movement of his people. Folks, we're moving. Are you coming with us? Because we are definitely moving out of 2022. And with Heather Peery's unforgiveness, we're moving into 2023 in a big way. But some of us got to shake off that stuff that's been hindering us from growing and getting us to the next level. And you got to let it go.